So we're gonna start with the first one. We're gonna talk about how a lot of countries in the EU are pro Ukraine, a lot of the countries in the EU would like to help Ukraine. And as discussed in the Hungary segment that we reacted to a video, not all countries in the EU are exactly super friendly. Not all countries in Europe are exactly friendly when it comes to um, Ukraine. We've mentioned Hungary, which Orban is blocking aid. Orban is trying to block Ukraine joining the European Union, putting all the stops. We've mentioned Slovakia after the recent election that it's taking a pretty anti-Ukrainian turn. We've mentioned Austria, which is pretty blatantly breaking restrictions on Russia, but we sort of still have not mentioned Italy. Italy has also been pretty weird about Ukraine. You probably heard of the siege of Mariupol, how basically Russia had been sieging the city for a long time and came in, razed the city to the ground, destroyed it, killed a whole bunch of people. I think the estimate is that over 20,000 civilians died in Mariupol, and and then of course destroyed the buildings, the infrastructure, everything. A pretty big tragedy, a pretty big, you know, typical Russia, a normal one for Russia to do. And now I'm hearing that Italy is going to host an event which will claim how Russia has liberated Mariupol, and Mariupol is now flourishing under Russia. That's a little bit of a narrative, isn't it? That's a, that's a little bit of a weird one, right? Considering what I've just described a few seconds ago, how over 20,000 civilians killed, city destroyed, city under siege, and the event's gonna be like Mariupol's rebirth thanks to Russia. It's flourishing. It was destroyed thanks to Russia to begin with. If it wasn't for Russia, first of all, it wouldn't need rebirthing. And second of all, claiming that Russia is some amazing benevolent force that sort of pushes for this thriving and for this rebirth is we have a little bit of a I think we have a few articles on this. Foreign Ministry condemns event on Russia's rebirth of Mariupol to be held in Italy. A grave is pictured in front of destroyed residential buildings in Mariupol on May 31st, 2022. Right? Ukraine's foreign ministry condemned an event on the rebirth of Mariupol after Russia's brutal siege, planned by an Italian pro-Russian association, as propaganda and provocation Ukrainska Pravda reported on January 4th, citing Foreign Ministry spokesperson Oleg Nikolenko. So that's the fact that such a thing is just allowed baffles the mind, doesn't it? The fact that a country can have an org that's just, oh, Mariupol, the city that was raised by, that was destroyed by Russia, many people killed by Russia. No, it's fine. Actually, it's thriving under Russia, and we're gonna host a Russian event to praise the whole thing. You can see why this whole thing baffles me so much. The Russian Cultural Association of Emilia Romagna announced on January 3rd that an event would be held in a civic hall in Modena on January 20th about Russia's rapid reconstruction of Mariupol in Donetsk Oblast. The city came under siege by Russian forces between February and May 2022, leaving thousands dead and reducing the city to rubble. Satellite images showed the expansion of mass graves near the city in the months following the start of Russia's occupation. So basically mass killing, mass devastation. You cannot just make an event around something like this celebrating that Russia's rebuilding. There would be no need for rebuilding if it was not for Russia. The Facebook post about the event, written in Italian and Russian, refers to the liberation of Mariupol by Russia. So, all a typical liberation by Russia, right? Mass graves, city turned to rubble, like typical liberation. Am I right? The event lists Russian ambassador to Italy, Dmitry Shaldin, as a speaker. Another speaker is Eliseo Bertolazzi, an Italian pro-Kremlin journalist who claimed to be a foreign observer of Russia's sham referendum in Russian-occupied territories of Ukraine in September 2022. Nikolenko told Ukrainska Pravda that the Foreign Affairs Ministry has already instructed the Ukrainian embassy in Rome to prepare an official appeal. At an official level, Italy resolutely supports the sovereignty and the territorial integrity of Ukraine, and we expect that there will be an appropriate reaction to this propaganda event, Nikolenko noted. I mean, I certainly hope so. I certainly hope that this event gets cancelled, that it gets called off, that the Italian government just shuts it down, because this is ridiculous if it happens. Like, it would just prove that blatant Russian propaganda can run amok. According to news outlets Modena Today, Paolo Zanca, a local official, said that Modena Mayor Giancarlo Muzzarelli should clarify the municipality's position regarding the invasion of Ukraine. Mariupol is the symbol of the unspeakable horrors of Putin's ogres, not least the bombing of the drama theater with 600 civilians murdered, many of whom were children. It was one of the worst war crimes committed since the Russian invasion, and as also recognized by Amnesty International, Zanca told Modena Today. Senator Enrico Borghi posted on X that it was unacceptable that such an event is being organized in a public space. a pro-Russian association launches its propaganda on Mariupol, a Ukrainian city razed to the ground by Putin, in a public hall in Modena. The attempt to subvert the truth, to pollute communication, and now even to glorify reconstruction continues, Borghi said. Lawmaker Leah Quartapel also said she hoped that the mayor of Modena would react. When we say that we must protect ourselves from interference, it also means avoiding giving public spaces to propaganda initiatives for Russia carried out on the backs of Mariupol, a city devastated by Putin. Quartapel posted on X. Muzzarelli responded to Quartapel on X that the event has received no financial support from the local council. It is not a municipal conference, there is no municipal patronage, but I will check what I can do, Muzzarelli wrote. Our position alongside the invaded country has been very clear from day one, the mayor said. So it is good that at least it's not endorsed by the government, but it should be shut down. You know? Like, you can see why this is totally ridiculous that a pro-Russian org can just organize a huge, horrible event centered around a genocide place, basically. Like, a genocide location. What else can we say? I hope this gets cancelled. I hope it's not gonna come to pass on the 20th. We're gonna keep sort of, I don't know, following this and see if the event gets called off.